It is time to bring in a few testimonials, which every page needs. Let's go to the bottom, add a new section, and we're going to stick to one column. When it comes to testimonials, you have a number of options. If you just want to have a static testimonial, somebody whose name appears there, you can actually use one of the modules that come with Divi called Testimonial. Select it, and it gives you a very straightforward, out-of-the-box testimonial, which I think is super duper. You can go ahead and use it, and it's got a few elements, and then of course you can go ahead and style them all by accessing the properties here in the panel on the right. But let's jazz it up a little bit and add a testimonial right within a slider. Now here things become interesting. Add a new module or row. Let's look for slider, and you're going to see there are 3 sliders. First glance, this looks like it's been sent by the gods because yay, sliders. But I have to say, after diving into them, I feel they are lacking. Because what I'm starting to realize as well is that a lot of these kind of modules, they don't give you everything you want. Then you have to go to the Divi marketplace and buy third-party stuff. That is really good, but then you pay extra for it. And it's at moments like that that I feel a little bit sour, like why can't that awesome slider not be included in the package? And then I remind myself I bought the lifetime deal, so let's give them a little bit of credit. Oh, by the way, I added an image to the previous section that we had created. That's very simple, right? You go and click on the section, go to content, background, and then add your image here to get that kind of nice background. Back to the slider. The normal slider that is included, I found very limiting. Let me just type properly. This slider over here. But what is interesting is that there is actually a new feature, backspace, called Group Carousel. And this is the one that we will be using here, which is also a slider. As the group module is also a relatively new element, the Group Carousel is also a new element. Click on the Group Carousel, and let's have a look in the layers panel on the left. What has happened within the column? We have Group Carousel. And under that, we have a group carousel slide. Select Group Carousel. Let's go to the right and then see what's going on here. You can see there it says Carousel Slide. And then to add more slides to this carousel/slider, you just click here on Add New Carousel Slide. I can do that. Where is it now? Why? What happened? Let me go back. Here we go. The moment I duplicated it, now we have 4 slides, and you can see the dots on the page. To navigate to them, you can't do that on the page. You can only do it basically from the layers panel. Select them, and you see how easy that is. Just wish that this was a little bit easier to navigate. Maybe even on page, I could click on the dot or even on the arrows to navigate on the page. That's not a gripe. Most sliders have the same concept. You style out one slide and then you duplicate it and you just change out the content. Select the parent slide or group carousel, and I do that. Let's delete these 3 and stick to this one over here and quickly start working. I'll add my little testimonial at the top with a text. Select my text and paste. The default text styling that we set up for the text module is perfect here. I can't remember all the others. We have base light, then we have base dark. That's actually not bad. Really, you can have overline, but that's not going to work. It just doesn't work with all caps. Let's go and stick it to base light, the standard. We make a few changes. We want to center align it, go to design text, and then we center align it and go next to sizing and reduce the size of the box to 60%. Now we center align that alignment. Hover over the text element, we bring in the image. Next, select image, bring in our testimonialer and style it out. Design. First, we go to border and we give it border radius. Whenever you're working with a 1:1 aspect ratio image, turning it into a circle, very simple, just put it on percentage and 100%. If you're not working with a 1:1 aspect ratio, you're working with a different one, then you just go for a very, very high pixel number until you get this. Let's give it a border. I'll give it a border width of 5 pixels. We change the color blue. And finally, let's change also the size. We go to sizing. We give it a width. I will put it on 100 pixels, make it smaller. and we center align it here under alignment, also put it in the center. Next, we give him a name, and that we will do, let's go for a heading, and we're going to make this a heading 3. And we call him Tommy No. And this is our heading. Let's go to design, heading text, H3, put it on the center, change our color, and let's put it also on uppercase. A little bit of spacing, heading letter spacing 1.2. Let's give it a H3 heading. We can go for H3. That looks very nice. It looks so professional. We hired someone who designed this, spent their weekends working overtime to get us to look this good. Let's try H3. What is the other one? H3 white. I forgot why it's white. Maybe a white background. H3. Same thing, I believe. With this, we give his title below, but I also notice that I put this below our carousel slide. I'll just grab it here and drag it in and put it under his little photo. Next, we give him a title, text, select text, select the text, Senior VP at Marketing Included. Included. And we go ahead and we put that text on center alignment like so. Let's reduce the space. And how are we going to do that? We have learned to reduce the group space between any of these. You have to select the parent container, which is the carousel slide. Select, go to layout, and then the vertical gap, we're going to change this one here to what? 16? And that looks much better. These two, though, they bother me. That is way too much. I don't want 16. We do that by adding them to a group. I'll bring in a group element, group, and then drag these two in. Drop it. And this one just below Tommy Nope. Make sure they're in the same group. I check here on the left in the layers panel in DDO. Select the group, we go to vertical gap, and I'll put it on 6. Why there is still that much space, and that is the M value. Let's put it on 0. Then we grab Tommy Nope. We go to our heading text, and we reduce our heading line height. Make sure it's on 1M, and we do the same for this one. Go to text module, line height, and put it on 1M. In case you haven't noticed, I want to show you what happened in the recent update. I'll bring in a new module, and that is the text element. Previously, when I brought in here at the very top, you may remember, I brought in a word like quality. Let's do it again. And then we gave it a huge size. That time it was 200. Go to text and give it a huge size of 200 pixels. And what happened is that when I hovered over it, this bounding box was a small little box here in the middle. You can go check out chapter 3 or 4 where we were working with this. Now they have fixed it. Now they've given it a value of 2M. So these things are changing overnight. Divi's constantly making changes. But I have to say, unfortunately, also here and there, new bugs keep creeping in. But we hope that at least this can be cleared out, and it's good to see that they're making an active effort to remove the bugs. So all those good tips I gave you, the workarounds in the previous chapters, well, now they're gone. Now we have this, just to show you that this has changed. Having a look at this, I think we need to add a little bit more space in the carousel slide. I'll go back to my layout. It was at 16. I'll put it on 24. And let's go and change Tommy's name. I also feel that should be bigger. So we're going to mess around with this one a little bit, make it some custom heading text. The current size is 14. I'll put it on 18. And we go ahead and put the heading font weight on bold. That looks much better. Now that we've created our first slide, we go and create the second slide. Go to the group carousel, select it in the layers panel on the left or from the breadcrumbs in the top right. Content, carousel slide, and select duplicate. To go to the second one, click on the edit, and that will take you to the second one. First, change out the image so we don't get confused with what we are working. And we call her Michelle Michelle Berger. There we go. Let's see if Michelle is there. Switch out the quote at the top. Let's give her a different title here. Manager at Checkers. That's a shopping center here in South Africa. And we create one more for our carousel. We have 3, the group carousel. Go to group carousel, content, and copy the last one. Click on the pencil to edit it. Select the image and then change it out with Martina. And we call her Martina van der Vyver. And she is IT specialist. Now we have the 3 sliders. Let's see how this group slider works. For that, you select the main parent of the group carousel. Go to the layers panel on the left and select group carousel. Under the content, carousel settings, all your settings happen over here. Automatic rotation, that's probably what we want. Otherwise, people won't know that they have to scroll. 2 seconds, I think that's fine. I'm just going to drop it down to 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second for our tutorial, so we don't have to wait too long. Pause on hover, very good one. And then center mode. We'll talk about center mode soon. And that's when we have more slides and we are showing more slides at the same time. These settings are good. Save. We go to the front, preview on front end, scroll down. And every second, it's going to transition for us, which is very short. That's why I would say definitely 2 seconds, but I'm not going to sit through the 2 seconds every time. As I hover over it, it pauses. Very important. So many sliders don't have this very basic function. Let's talk about styling out before we go back. So we go to design, you have your arrows here. Oh, wait, before we do that, go back to content. Actually, your dot navigation and your arrow navigation, you will find them under elements here under content of the group carousel. Here you can switch them on and off. And what we'll do is we will remove the arrows. One reason we often prefer to remove the arrows is that they become a little bit kooky when you go to tablet and mobile views. That's why it's very nice that you can also put them on responsive activation for this. So you can show them on desktop, but then you can go ahead and you can deactivate them in the other states if you want to. I will deactivate show arrows here. I like this clean layout that we are working with here. Same for your dot navigation. We're going to leave that, design, and now go to dot navigation. You can make changes here. I'll decrease the dot size to 7 and we change this color to blue. What I was hoping for with the dot color is that we have a little bit more control over the background. I looked over this one here. This is our hover, if I'm not mistaken, and I tried different colors just to see if it will change. But as I make changes, it doesn't do that. Yeah, that's kind of a pity. I would have liked to see that we can change the background, even change the fill of the dot, so we can just have a circle without any fill. This is what we currently have. That is your dot navigation. Then you have here groups. This one confused me. Not sure what the groups and the active groups, there is spacing for it. I played around with it. I couldn't figure really out what it does, especially when you go to layout. You will see there's not much you can do here, but you have control over the border and other styling options. This one I need to spend more time with, but I'm not sure if it's worth my time because I got the slider to do exactly what I wanted it to do. Hop back for a moment to content, go to carousel settings again. Let's have a look at what's going on here. And then work with slides to show. We go for 2 slides. You can see if you have many slides, you can bring this in. Once you get to 2, center mode works like this. Select center mode and you will have one slide always in center and then the adjacent slides a little bit to the side. Then you also have the option here, slides to scroll. So if I put it on 2, every time it's going to scroll, it will cycle through 2. In this case, it's a little silly because then you're going to miss every time the one slide next to this one and skip straight to that one. But this can work nicely if you have maybe 2 in the middle and you want to scroll 2. So the amount of slides here minus 1 will always give you what you want to put slides to scroll on. I'll deactivate center mode and slides to show I'll also put it only on one in this case. From here, go back to design, dot navigation, dot position. Currently it's set to below. Then you have above. That's a weird one, but maybe there's a use case you've thought of. And then overlay pushes it into the carousel slide. So naturally, we will go to something like below. Then we also have the dot alignment. Again, one that will work in different cases. In our case, it's going to be on center. I'm going to refresh the page quickly. Scroll down to the bottom and select our section. Go to background for the section, add a color. Let's see, blue. And let's add then to bright snow. That's what I want, just a little bit of contrast with the one at the top. Above this, I want to bring in similar to this one. So what I'll do, I'm going to copy this row here. Yeah, I know we saved it, but you know, if you have an easy way of doing it, and if you are comfortable with it, like me, just dragging this one, then I'm going to do that. And drop it down there, and we call this one testimonial. I can't see. Let's see if I spelled it correctly. Testimonials. And then what our customers say. Hover over this blurb here, delete it, and we've created this one for our testimonial section. Add some padding at the top and the bottom. Design spacing padding 100 pixels at the top. Click on the link to also add 100 pixels at the bottom. Before we move on to the last section for this home page and then work on our navigation, we look at tablet. I think I like how it looks on tablet, and then we also go for mobile. What we can do here is click on this text box here. The sizing we had put at 60%, I'll increase it to 80%. Select the section, go to layout and reduce the vertical gap to 30, just to bring this closer to what our title says here at the top. We don't like just one word, always like this. Grab the slider on the right, let's drag it into 360, and we see now that our text will break into this line. I think to do that, let's make it break by ourselves. We select the module settings, go to sizing, 70, and we cut it by ourselves. Save, go to the front end. Let's quickly update it here on the front end and activate Pexify. By the way, there's also a free version of this, but remember to check out the pro version. Let's scroll to the bottom, and we're focusing on the tablet and we're focusing on our mobile devices. Nice. Everything looks the way it did within Divi. We are very happy with how this turned out. A few updates that can roll out to make this group carousel absolutely amazing. I hope those can come out in the future.